Hello, everyone, and welcome to Holocron Transmissions. I'm your host, Nick, and this is
Omadaun.
today we'll be reviewing a brand new episode for Star Wars Rebels Season 3 called Legacy on Mandalore. And let me tell you, this episode was really well written. I gotta personally say, this has a bang on 10 out of 10 because it had a lot of action, it was emotional, and it just had a lot of good scenes. What would you say, Omadaun?
I wouldn't say it was uh, very action packed, but it was definitely delving more into Sabine's family relationship with her and reasons for, on both sides, why they did what they did,
Yeah, I would totally agree with you there.
especially between her and her mother.
Oh yeah, for sure. So it starts off with Sabine, Ezra, Finn Rao, Chopper, and also Kanan in the Phantom going to Mandalore and basically have an unwelcome visit from the House Ren because, they still think that Sabine is still a traitor for what she did with the Empire.
At least they allowed her to land.
Yeah,
Crash land, but
well, Crash Land. Yeah.
it was a landing.
Yep. So here are the Mandalorians here of House Ren. Their armor is really cool, and you know they're just assholes for what they did to the Phantom because it's a new Phantom still from what they had lost from the old Phantom in Episode 1 of Season 3, and we hope to continue to see this Phantom more often because it hasn't been used that much in this season for a lot of things, and I think they're not going to use it that much from throughout till the probably the very last episode, which is episode 22 of Star Wars Rebels season 3, and the final episode as well. So after that, they crash land, and Ezra sees Mandalorians, of course, and we get to get introduced to her brother. Now we don't know her brother's name, but Sabine just calls her brother throughout the episode, and I really like the scene a lot. What would you say, Amadon?
I love the first thing Ezra does as soon as she says, "Don't instigate anything," whips out the lightsabers.
Yeah, because as we all know that the Mandalorians do hate the lightsabers from Obi-Wan experience on Mandalore because as we all know Obi-Wan caused mischief in Mandalore when he was there for his first time.
I've noticed something throughout this episode is Ezra just seems to make everything worse.
Hmm.
And during the episodes, like he first to initiate lightsaber, first to shove his foot in his mouth to the brother. It's just he's a train wreck of a character in this episode.
So you finally get to get introduced to Sabine's mother. At first, she is not the mother of the year. That's what I would say.
Yeah, on initial looks, it's like she seems like she's very stubborn and set in traditional ways. But she does reveal to Sabine that it's like she did the stuff she did was to protect her.
Because the
But
Empire calls her a traitor, of course.
yes,
And what we got to learn from her father that her father is still alive, but he's being held by the Empire.
yes, that was definitely something that was important, and why her brother is sporting a very different Mandalorian garb because he is actually working for what is
Gar
his name?
Saxon.
Gar Saxon. He's working for Gar Saxon because he's trying to reclaim
Free,
the
yeah,
honor for his family.
and free his father as well.
Exactly.
So here we get to see Kanan and Ezra talking to Sabine's mother how she doesn't know what Sabine has been through all these ages once she left the Empire and joined the rebellion, how she's grown, how she become more as a leader than she is.
And something else I have to say, well, two things I have to say about this. One is it's a great moment of just seeing difference between how much more of a family they are with Sabine, how much they understand her more than her own family does, because she's withheld so much from her family, she's more alienated from them.
Hmm.
And another thing, I love the design of the abodes of Mandalorian warriors. We've gotten to see during the Clone Wars. We got to see like how their cities were and everything, but this is more of like what their bases were when they were warriors, not civilization,
Hmm.
but more of a warrior clans. You could definitely tell with like the art style and everything. Everything was made to have a grandiose feel to it, like it would be a hall of warriors, but it's also very cold because the lifestyle of Mandalorians is a very cold lifestyle of a warrior.
Oh yeah, for sure. So after that, Sabine's mother told her to walk for her, and they go outside and they're talking about the dark saber, how Sabine doesn't have the right to control the dark saber, or how she didn't earned it from dueling Mo, because as we all know, that dark saber has to be dueled by to actually earn its trust. So that's what I really liked about this scene here, how Sabine's merges is down in her because she can't even like fight with Darksaber, or she doesn't know how to use the Darksaber, which she does. And Sabine even said that you'll be surprised for what I have learned from Kanan and also Ezra.
Also, I do love the fact that she hands it to her mother. It's like she's still willing to trust her mother, even knowing how her mother is and how she still cares for her family and willing to reach out that olive branch to trust. And may I say also, if you notice the jetpack she got several episodes prior,
Hmm.
she is now designed, and isn't it fitting that it's like the birth of her wings? Like she's
Yeah.
starting to spread her wings as a leader
Hmm.
and a warrior. Because they're small wings, but it's like small things, big things come from small growth, and it's just very symbolic in my opinion.
Yeah, totally agree with you there as well. So the next scene here, we get to see Sabine's mother, of course, contacted Gar Saxon that the rebellion is here. The two Jedi are here. What you fought on Concord Dawn last time when you met with them, they're all yours to kill. So, and Sabine put their lightsabers in the storage unit as well.
I do have to say, it's like also what we're not seeing here is that our buddy Mandalorian of the Protectors has spying on them with his
Yeah.
helmet.
And then we get to see Sabine is training with her brother, and her brother has gotten a lot better since the last time she actually was there,
Yes, it's nice to be able to see some of Mandalorian combat training
for
and
sure.
just seeing how their sibling rivalry is over the fact of you can tell he's definitely taken on the whole burden of the shame the clan has had because of Sabine's actions.
Mhm.
And in a way you can tell that certain things his mother's kind of not told him because it sounds like he doesn't have like full truth from his mother about why Sabine uh, was left and all that.
Mhm. And how he just brought out all his rage as well on Sabine, with being dead in Trials of the Darksaber, how she let her emotions out, as well as her brother in this episode, which I kind of liked how it recalls to Sabine letting her emotions out in the last episode.
Which in a way kind of symbolizes how the problem with Mandalorians is they bottle things up. You can't trust anybody. You always have to be on guard, and it's an unhealthy thing for the mind because the mind can easily snap to stuff like that over time.
Oh yeah, for sure. So after that, we get to see Gar Saxon has finally arrived on Mandalore, and basically he said to Sabine's brother, "You have one option: join me or die with your family." And at first, I thought Sabine's brother was actually gonna join Gar Saxon,
Uh huh.
and then he never he said family matters first, which I really liked about this.
I had a feeling he would turn on Saxon because you gotta realize that unlike Saxon is so full of shit. Oops, sorry, but he doesn't adhere himself to the Mandalorian code. He is a backstabber and a liar, whereas her brother is doing all this to keep the family honor, and for Saxon to be doing this backhanded stuff, it it's basically against everything that honor code stands by, and the fact that he brushes off what he says to Saxon makes the brother turn on Saxon. It's like, oh, he's not gonna. listen to traditions or anything. He doesn't care about the code.
For sure. Then we get to see Finn Rao comes in with his jetpack, which I actually kind of find funny at first, how they're like all shocked and how he's there. Because basically Gar Saxon calls him a traitor, but he's not a traitor. He's just a true Mandalorian fighting
Right.
against Empire.
May I say, who did think when he said traitor, you weren't thinking of a
GRAR, I believe he's called.
yeah, just going traitor, whipping out the saber, the vibro staff, whatever it was.
So after that, we get to see that Gar Saxon saw that Sabine's mother is out of cover, and Sabine saw that Gar Saxon was actually going to go after her, but Ezra throws her the lightsaber, and then she kind of like stops her or him from actually killing Sabine's mother.
Yes, and may I say this was actually a great point when Sabine is now coming into her own more. She is willing to defend someone who just betrayed her again, and is now willing to fight to protect her. We all know it's her mother, but then again, you gotta realize she's betrayed her twice, and even though they've been kind of very civil with everything, the fact that she was willing to kill her friends, the people who she's looked at as family all this time, it's kind of something big to think about with that.
Oh yeah, for sure. So after that, we get to see Gar Saxon fighting Sabine, and this scene was probably one of my favorite scenes of all time, because she is dueling to get control of the Darksaber. As Sabine's mother said, you're not the rightful owner, but someone is, and that's how Sabine earned the trust of the Darksaber, by fighting Gar Saxon.
Yes, well, something we didn't mention was before when she was talking with her mother, she did mention that she got the saber from Maul. It's like, you fought Maul for it? Mm-hmm. No, not exactly.
I just picked it up.
You did earn it.
Mm-hmm.
In a Mandalorian's eyes, you have to earn it by taking it from them in combat. And this was a true test to that, because he is currently the leader of the Mandalorians on Mandalore. And for her to best him in combat while he's using that saber, she proved herself worthy of carrying the saber, even though she does not see herself that way. And it was a very good fight. It was an emotional fight.
Then we get to see this bit here. Now, what does this remind you of, as we talked of this before we actually started the podcast?
Oh, yeah. It definitely reminds you of Anakin's choice when holding Dooku at bay with the two sabers.
Mm-hmm.
Just she doesn't have an old crusty man going, get it,
do it,
do it.
So yeah, that was probably one of my favorite scenes. And then we get to see that Sabine has finally left the Ghost crew, and this has to be one of the emotional parts about this episode. How Kanan says, "I'm proud of you," and Sabine says, "Kanan, don't say it. Just don't say it."
I wasn't going to say it, and you could tell the way she hugs him goodbye. It's very much like he's been like a father to her. You can definitely tell.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very emotional thing for her to leave basically her family.
And even Chopper was sad as well, if you saw his look.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, overall this episode was really good. Now, time for our thoughts about this episode. For me, it was really emotional. It brought the best out of Sabine's character, and I would probably give this episode a 10 out of 10 Omadaun.
I say it's normally I would say this is a 7 out of 10, but because of the right emotional tones, and it was a very good fight. Although I think it would have been better if they split this into 2 episodes. That way you had a little bit more time about it. But even with what they did, it was a solid 8. I will give it.
Not bad. So yeah, that is our review for the new episode for Star Wars Rebels Season 3 called Legacy on Mandalore. I hope you all enjoyed. We'll be doing our next review next week called Through Imperial Eyes. That's the next episode. and it's just going to be an awesome series finale when it comes to Star Wars Rebels Season 3. And so thank you very much for watching Holocron Transmissions. Don't forget to like, comment, and also tell us your thoughts about this episode and share it on your social media. Thank you very much, and don't forget, may the Force be with you always.